Alrighty, hello everyone, this is Tom here, not in a character at all. It's not Aussie Flying Ace or any of my other stupid ideas. At the request of some of my fine established internet friends, I actually do have people I talk to on the internet, surprisingly. They do stand me for long enough. They've said, oh, mate, you should make some videos on YouTube about some of your opinions and stuff. Now, I'll warn you straight away, this might be boring. Alright, I appreciate you watching, very much so. Thank you for watching if you are. If this is being broadcast to people I know, then suck shit, you have to listen to me anyway. So what should I start on? Look, I don't have a thing written out here. I've just got a couple of dot points. I apologise if I don't look directly into your eyes like your dream, mate. So just looking at these, I've got a couple of things here. So a couple of things I wanted to talk about. And look, to anyone watching this, I really appreciate any feedback, any replies. If you want to post a video reply and we have an ongoing conversation happen, I'm happy for that. That's all I like to do, is stimulate conversation about these things. And I may not agree to disagree, but I do agree that you can have an opinion that disagrees with mine. I might not agree with it, but I agree that you're allowed to have that opinion. So look, first up, we've got a couple of naughty words here, I guess we'll call them naughty words, because they're naughty words because when you start talking about them, people think you're being naughty, to put it in a simple term, I guess. Now, first off, we got race. Alright, the big R word, that naughty word. There's a lot of issues surrounding it, of course, because people are jumping, they got their agenda. Everyone's got an agenda, of course, that's pretty well established, that everyone has an agenda of some sort. I mean, I don't know what my agenda is. I wish I knew it so I could tell you straight up what it is, but I'll leave that for you all to figure out. Or maybe someone will say my agenda is just to bloody get people annoyed. I don't know, it gives me something to do, I guess. Alright, getting on to the point. Race. My opinion doesn't matter. Not important. Right, we're talking about something that just has absolutely no relevance whatsoever. Now, we can bring up other things like, what about ethnic groups? What about cultural groups? What about national borders? Well, that's fine. I'm happy to say that, yeah, look, there's cultural groups, there's ethnic groups, there's cultural borders. If anything, I think that the only way you can really define different groups of people is by their government institutions being representative of the people. Of course, this requires the prerequisite of democracy and proper representation to be applied adequately. But just rather than going on race and what people look at, it's about the content of their character, and the content of their character can be established and proliferate through government. The overwhelming content of the character of the state, so to speak, the conglomerate of people, the group of people, the collectivist, I guess, whatever words you want to put to it. So we can certainly talk about differences between people in different nations, and the stereotype of a national icon or a national character. I mean, obviously, being Australian, there's stereotypes of Australians. Now, if someone was to make a stereotype of an Australian, that's not really racist, unless you consider Australians as a race, which, is contestable. I mean, of course, coming from the point that you think that race exists, which, of course, I'm arguing that it doesn't. This isn't really delving into any sciencey sort of stuff at all. Now, I'm not a fucking professor on this shit, alright? So if I say the wrong word or the wrong terminology, there's no need for you to go, oh, you're an idiot, you don't know what you're talking about, mate. Opinion totally dismissed. This is just conversation. Now, and of course, with all conversation, you can, rebut and come back and go, look, just to let you know, you're actually wrong about this, blah, blah, blah. Now, I'll rebut to that if I feel that I need to. So, just to put that in there. Look, I mean, when it comes to the sciencey stuff, we're really starting to look, looking at subspecies and just even defining things by subspecies. Once again, I'm not a biologist, I'm not a taxonomist, or whatever they're called. My job isn't to look at and define these things, but obviously I think this is really just a semantics discussion when we come down to it. This is just a big rant on semantics. Look, I don't even think subspecies are all that important with biological definition of what do you call them? What's the word? biological creatures. They've got a word for them. I don't remember it. It's too late. Look, species is good. Species is a good definition. Now, I mean, our taxonomical system of classification isn't perfect. All right, there's problems with it. Genetics is showing that some of the trees that we have set up aren't right, and some of the relatives to others aren't actually, and stuff like that. So it's a continual growing sort of thing, and to assist this growing, people have to be able to discuss these things. Now, of course, comes in the agenda. What's the word? It's affected by the two extremist sides on the side. I mean, obviously, on one side you've got your hardcore racists. The people know we're different, and there's these ones are worse or better or whatever. Grouping people into three or four basic groups of people. Like, well, I don't even want to start listing because I think they're stupid classifications. And then you start getting borders to these areas, and what are the people in this group? Are they the same as these people? And all this mess, and it becomes messy. And people are just looking for an establishment to come. Well, people are just looking for. I don't want to make any presumptions about racist folk or go like, you're racist because of this, or you think this because of this or whatever. I mean, each individual is different, and they're coming to their conclusions based upon different reasonings. Some of it might be similar, but the thing is, going back to the point about it, is that there's two sides, and then obviously you've got the other side, which is your real. I mean, they sort of come across. This sort of touches on stuff I got there later, about like feminism. Stuff like that, like you got your real, I don't know what the correct term is, I don't know if cultural Marxist is the right term, or liberal, or whatever they're called these days. I mean, geez, 60 years ago we called them commies, I mean, I don't know what to call them these days. But, there's two major sides to it. And then there's a whole group of people in the middle that want to talk about it. They want to get it sorted out. But they're so terrified of being called a racist, or being called a liberal, or being labelled as something, that they don't want to discuss the issue of labelling things because they're too worried about getting labelled. So I mean, I've been given plenty of labels. That's their problem, not mine. I mean, whatever. So I mean, the thing is, where do you draw the line? If you start defining things by let's throw back into the subspecies thing. Let's say we want to start defining people by their subspecies. Okay, where do we draw the line? Is it national borders? Is countries the easiest thing? Are countries representative of proper ethnic groups? I mean, we've got countries which have got a wide array of groups in them. Like, I mean, look at Indonesia. Indonesia's got West Papua through to Java and Sumatra and the rest of them. And they're obviously they have different cultures, different ways of living, different methods to different things. Some of them aesthetically may look different as well. But I mean, really, the main thing that just my mind keeps on jumping back to is we're all Homo sapiens. All right, we're all homos. You can have a laugh at that. I love saying it. We're all homos. You're a homo. I'm a homo. We're all homos. All right. You can laugh. Oh, he said he's a homo. Well, you're a homo too. All right. So we're all homos. So we can get in the big homo pile. Alright, we can all be Homo sapiens. So, obviously there's issues about classification, things like that. I mean, just before I move on to the next thing, I mean, the other thing I go to, and I like this example, because it was from a documentary I watched. It's a National Geo documentary, I think it was National Geographic. And the whole pretense behind was that there is a neutron star or some astrophysical thing that can annihilate the whole solar system, and it was going to turn up in 75 years, and we had to build a spaceship and an ark or whatever you want to call it and get out of the solar system and go find somewhere else to live. And of course, the issue came up in this documentary of who do you take? We can only take, I don't remember how many it was, like 200,000 or something was on this ship, right? And so I mean, obviously, who are you going to take? You're not going to go, well, only this race goes, or only this subspecies, or only this cultural group. I mean, look, if it was only one nation that put together all the effort and built the spaceship, I mean, that's different. That's probably, we're talking a bit more politics here, you know, individualism versus collectivism, statism, and things like this. Does the state have individual rights over others and things like that? You know, I mean, yeah. So, you know, can one nation choose to do something to save itself, knowing that, you know, other nations won't survive? Because, you know, not because of their fault, you know, because it's just the way it is. You know, is there something wrong with them doing that? Let's say, for example, America was the only one that did it, or the EU were the only ones that built this spaceship. You know, they didn't really go into this. This is something I also thought about myself. You know, this has got to do with national things. It's a bit off track, but anyway, back to it. You know, if you had to select these people, you wouldn't go, oh, well, we'll only select, you know, white folks or Jewish folks, or, you know, we'll only accept Asians because, you know, they're good with whatever stereotype you want to put them in. You know, obviously there's different people for different tasks, and people have different uses. So, you know, it's really just about identifying the individual and, you know, what's his use, what does he need. You know, obviously there's issues there with authority and liberty and the state stepping in, and, you know, one person bossing around another and stuff like that. You know, superiority of cultures and things like that against other cultures. There's always all these nitty-gritty sort of issues that come into it, which is why just simply trying to talk about race becomes this big, overwhelming, intricate, complex thing, when is it really that complex? Or do we just pull all this bullshit into it to just sort of cover up the main task here, and that is that, what is it? And we don't, you know, we bring, oh, it's cultural groups, oh no, it's trans ethnicity, national borders, it's how you look, it's where you're from, it's who your parents were, it's who your mum was, it's who your grandma was, you know, what are the sort of lines that we're drawing, you know. And so anyway, I mean, you know, it's late, I'm sorry if I'm ranting and going all over the place like a crazy person. Okay, so look, moving on to the next one. This is going to be a good one. This is going to make someone go off their nutter. Oh God, I don't even want to talk about it, because I'm going to get someone to send me a message, or they're going to leave a comment, or they're going to make a video reply, and oh God, so look, just go easy, alright? I mean, we're all just speaking our opinions here. I'm not insulting you, I'm not calling you names, I'm not swearing at you. So if somebody gives me a video reply where they call me names and, you know, pull out these 3-syllable or more words to try to insult me, then fine, you know, you can do that, but just come down to a level where we try to discuss things on a level where, you know, we're not throwing around ad hominems and insulting each other and who can call each other the best name. You know, let's not play that game, alright? If you're going to reply, just, you know, do a little rant. I promise you I'll watch it, I promise you I'll listen to it, and, you know, if I know what I'm like, I can be a bit lazy, so I'm not going to promise that I'll make a reply, but if it's good, I will, because I won't be able to help it. I'll just jump on and I'll be like, hey, I think this and this and this about what you said. So yeah, okay, so the next thing. There's a lot of issues being discussed in popular media about whatever. I mean, I don't even know what the right word. They change it. What is it? Is it equal marriage rights? Is it gay marriage rights? I mean, you know, I don't even know about what we call it anymore, but that's not important, okay? My view is whatever you do in your own house, whatever. I mean, it's not even really the business of the state to say whatever. I mean, this is a cultural thing. Marriage is a cultural thing, so whatever. And it's semantics. I mean, this is just a giant discussion on semantics, but the whole community, I'm going to get somebody just go, oh, you're presumptuous, you know, I can't even think it's that late. You know, presumptuous, what am I word? Bigot, that's the word, bigot. Waiting for that one. If you say the word bigot, you'll make me smile, that's for sure. So, never attribute to malice what can be adequately explained by stupidity, alright? So don't presume that I'm being mean because I'm being stupid, okay? Don't presume that. And don't go, oh, you stupid idiot, call me names, because that's not healthy to a discussion, alright? I mean, this is what our politicians do all day long, and look at how much they get done. I mean, come on, alright? So, look, the real thing here that I want to focus on is a small select group of people. Small select, I don't care. What it means, look, statistics back me up, alright? I'm not incorrect in saying that they're a small group of people. A small segment of the population. A couple of percent of the population, right? That have this, what do we say? What do we call it? What's the right thing to call it? This gender dysphoria disorder or whatever it is. Is it a mental illness? Is it a mental condition? Is it, what is it exactly? I mean, regardless of what the classification of it is, it's a mental thing, right? It's got to do with some imbalance in the brain, right? It's got to do with imbalance of stuff. It's a medicine thing. It's a medical thing, right? So the way the medical field deals with this is by going, okay, well, we'll give you radical surgery to change your body. And now there's all these issues about, oh, gender's different to sex. Sex isn't the same as gender. All right, look, get ready to be offended. If you're born a boy, you're a boy. If you're born a girl, you're a girl. Now, if there's something else in your mind, or there's some other issue in the way of that, then that's fine. There's treatment and help for those sort of issues that people experience, regardless of whether it's connected to sex or gender or other misappropriation of identity, okay? This is my opinion, all right? Now, what scares me is the idea that there's people out there that think, oh, that person's being the bigot, he should be locked up in jail, or we should get him out of the community, or we should hang him or something. You know, what's these extremist replies to this? You know, this isn't Western thinking, like, you know. So I'm just going to put straight out there, right? I'm not being offensive or being derogatory towards people that have gender dysphoria ordered by saying the word crazy within the context of this hypothesis. But let's say, under my example, whatever hypothesis, whatever you want to call it, too late, I'm sorry, I'm tired. You have the man down the road who thinks he's Jesus. Okay, the man 100% believes he's Jesus. He identifies as Jesus. He's the Son of God. He's here to save us all. Okay. Now, within the same realm of having someone who was born a boy that identifies as a girl, you would say it's oppressive for people to not call that person a girl. Okay, and that's wrong. Now, within the same context, is it oppressive and wrong for people not to call him Jesus and to treat him as Jesus? Now, if I was walking along and I said, that guy's not Jesus, should you be telling me that he is? Should you be coming up and going, mate, that guy, he identifies as Jesus and he is Jesus and you have no right to oppress his identity. That's who he is. So should we crucify him? I mean, you know, should we go and find a Roman senator or whatever Pilate was he a senator? No, governor or whatever he was, you know? Should we go find a Roman governor of the area? You know, I don't know, what should we do? You know, should we flog him? You know, I'm not saying that I advocate flogging people, I'm just saying he's Jesus, he wants to be Jesus. Should we stick him in a cave and close it for 3 days? See what happens? You know, I mean, I'm just wondering what's the limits to this. Yeah, I mean, I'm not trying to make a joke here and go like, oh, you know, this is funny. Oh, no, this is just a serious analogy I'm making. You know, like, at what limit do we, at what, I'm thinking, sorry, man, I'm trying to think of the words here. My brain's frying. I've just made some simple notes. I haven't written out this. You know, accommodate, that's the word. How much do we accommodate this? You know, how much do we accommodate it? Look, you know, another thing would be people, I don't remember the name, I apologise that I didn't research this, it wasn't in my notes, it's just popped in my head. The people who believe that they shouldn't have one of their limbs or something, there's some word for it where they, you know, the arm feels unnatural, so, you know, they want to cut it off or whatever. And, you know, and obviously, oh, well, you know, there's the part of their brain isn't there, and there's a problem with the brain chemistry and all this and stuff, so, I mean, you know, I guess it comes down, is it right, should we be cutting these people's limbs off because they don't feel like it's natural? Or should we be trying to treat the imbalance or the part of their brain that's saying, look, that's not right? You know, I mean, what do we do? I mean, at what point is it infringing upon, you know, people's rights, my freedoms? You know, what point does it infringe upon them? I mean, obviously there's negative and positive claims to rights, and, you know, there's some rights that affect others, and, well, they're not really rights if they affect others, you know, they're positive claims to rights because they affect others positively. I think, no, not positively, they affect, I don't know, look, I don't have my notes in front of me for that, but someone's going to know what I'm talking about, I'm sure, or you're all laughing at me thinking I'm stupid, one or the other. So let's just, you know, that's that wrapped up. I'll wait for a reply to that, or I'll make another video if I don't get a reply to that. Sorry it's going on so long. I don't know how long it's going for, but I'll just go to my next one. My next point. Just these three things I had that I wanted to rant about for my fellow comrades online. I shouldn't say comrades, it's a commie term, isn't it? That's what commies say. We got race. We got the people whose acronym starts with a T. We'll call them that. I'm sure that would be one of the least non-offensive terms I can say. Because someone's going to get offended. Someone out there believes they've got the right not to be offended. They can live their whole life going around and not being offended. And if anyone offends them, oh, that's you're infringing on my freedoms and my right to happiness and life. And it's the right to the pursuit of happiness, okay? You have a right to the pursuit. You don't have a right to happiness. You have a right to the pursuit of it. As long as that doesn't infringe other people's rights, you can go on your pursuit for happiness, okay? But, wrapping up, inside jobs, false flags, conspiracy theories. Don't believe them. I'm not saying that they're not possible. I'm not saying that there isn't, the idea of a conspiracy theory isn't possible. What I'm saying is I don't think 9/11 was an inside job. Sorry, someone's going to go, oh, you're an idiot, mate. All the evidence is out there. Just go on the internet. It's all there, mate. Just open your eyes and see the truth. You're a sheep. You're a sheep, mate. You're just a sheep to the system. You're just a sheep to the system. You got your wool pulled over your eyes by the man. Yeah, the man controls. I mean, we've been saying this sort of stuff generations. The reason why I don't prescribe to that method of thinking is because it's a type of comforting. It's a type of comforting mechanism. You want to believe that your country, your world, our people, we're so powerful, we're so strong, everything's under control. And if anything goes wrong, well, then that must have meant to happen. It must have meant to. There was a reason behind it. There was someone that caused that, this reason, to bring about this, to have this. And it was the government. The government did it. Of course the government did it. Why did the government do it? Because they're so powerful and strong, and they've got all these guys with suits and uniforms, and we pay them, and they sit around and they look at maps and numbers, and they're really smart, and they're in control, man. And, I just don't prescribe to it because the world's pretty chaotic. It's not pretty chaotic, it is chaotic. Look, I'm not saying that people don't take advantage of situations for political gains. That is not what I'm saying, okay? I'm not saying that doesn't happen, because it does, okay? And a lot of what can be construed as, I don't know, what we call it, New World government planning and stuff like that, could be going, oh, look, this happened so they could bring in this legislation. Look, it is very possible that they had already pre-written, and in some instances they have written, too late, sorry. They have written up this stuff before and waited for the right time to release it. Now, I'm not saying this doesn't happen. They're just waiting to take advantage of a situation politically. They're vultures, mate. Well, that's what... They're vultures that can talk. Better be careful what I say about them, mate. They'll come for me. But that's the thing, is that... Look, how incompetent do you think the government is? Do you think the government is pretty incompetent? Give them a lot of money, they don't do a good job? So what makes you think they do a good job anywhere else? Oh, but it wasn't a good job, mate, because they slipped up and they left so much evidence behind, and, blah, 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 and they could have done it better. I mean, this is just armchair general speak, I just can't prescribe to it, okay? The idea, where does it extend to? Is there intergalactic space reptiles? Like the asteroid that came down in Russia. This is another example I like to use in reference to this sort of thing. The meteor that came down, meteor, I don't know, whichever one, that came down in Russia. Nobody saw it coming, because it was coming from the direction of the sun. It wasn't in front of the sun. It wasn't from the direction of the sun. There was no light reflecting off it. So therefore we can't see it. No light reflecting our way, can't see it. Same as the blackness of space. Now, was that planned? When this meteor turned up out of nowhere, was that planned? Was this part of the agenda? The agenda for New World government and control and New World order and globalization and all this stuff? I mean, was it the reptilians that sent it? Was it the Dark Masters, the elite? I like that, the elite. Implying there's some sort of pure aristocracy that runs the world. I mean, really, I hear it argued that a pure aristocracy, a true rule of the elite, would be preferable to some other systems of government. I'm not saying that I support one, but I can certainly see how the argument has weight. I mean, we're talking about the elite here. The elites, aren't they the better ones? Wouldn't they be better at running it than the normies? Who would you rather running a business, an elite or a normie? Like, obviously an elite's probably going to be better because he's elite. Elite, better. Normie, normal, average. So, I don't know. Where does it end? I mean, we got Boston bombing happens. Oh, it's a false flag. Well, look, it was a pretty incompetent job. It was pretty badly done. I mean, anyone that watches enough videos online knows that compared to some of the other things that have been done, now it was pretty, low ranking. Whoever did that wasn't too, mechanically aptitude, I think might be the right term. But anyway, so that's the thing that gets to me. Rustles my jimmies. We'll say that it rustles my jimmies. Really rustles my jimmies. As soon as something happens, it's a false flag, inside job. And it's like, well, do you ever contemplate for just a moment that maybe you do have an enemy and he can hurt you? If you don't defend yourself, like, you've got to keep things secure and stuff, like, but if you don't, someone gets in, just like a burglar in the house. I mean, when a burglar breaks in your house, do you think, it was a burglar? Or do you think, this was an inside job by insurance companies to rise up the premiums to get more money out of us lowly taxpayers because the elite are in control? I mean, is this the sort of conclusions that we jump to? I mean, someone breaks in your house and robs your house, it's the insurance company that did it? Well, I'm just wondering. So, anyway, before this goes on for however fucking long it already is, I apologise for swearing. I didn't swear at you. Just remember that. Or I didn't swear at you. Okay, so don't swear at me. It's fine. All right. You have your freedom of speech and all that. You can say what you want. You can rant your face off at me, mate. You can call me every name under the sun. In fact, if you can come up with a name I haven't heard, I'll be impressed, and I'll tell you I'm impressed, even if it's just a comment saying I'm impressed. You'll know I'm impressed. All right. But yeah, or just give the opposite opinion for the hell of it. Stimulate some conversation. Stimulate. Alright, cool. I'm out. Yeah, someone reply. If I don't get replies, I'm gonna be sad. I'll be very sad. And you don't want to see this face sad. I mean, I'm sure there's some people out there that do, get off to it or whatever, but, that's not my business, that's theirs. I mean, I don't know why you would anyway. So anyway, what was I saying? Yeah, finishing. Yeah, I'm waiting to hear from you.